there, the English Channel. This is not far from Dover. We're in a town called Folkestone. We're camped for the night. Long day drive today, all the way from Lincolnshire through London, collect a passport in London, and now south coast of England. Tomorrow morning, very early, we're catching the ferry to cross into France. The reason why I'm doing this is that I'm going to, for the first time, the Abenteuer Allrad Expo in Bad Kissingen in Germany. It is by far the biggest overland and adventure travel expo in Europe. And I'm driving with my Toyota Land Cruiser. There it is, Toyota Land Cruiser 78, my own one. It is, as far as I know, the only Toyota Land Cruiser 78 series right-hand drive in the UK. It's daybreak and already we're on the ferry. It's remarkably efficient and not particularly expensive. Okay, not a terribly good start to the new day. Because of all the storms yesterday, all of the ferries were delayed. So we've been delayed, so far it's 2 hours late. We've got a 7-hour drive today through France and Germany to get to the Bad Kissingen show, and I have to get there before 10 p.m. Otherwise they close the door and I cannot get in. And then if that happens, I don't know what's going to happen. But anyway, I'm quite optimistic that we'll get through as long as we don't get lost. We've got a GPS, I've got some good maps. Gwynn's going to help me with the navigation. But right now, just enjoying this amazing spectacle, this incredible busyness in front of me here, and the English Channel in front of us. So we're finally moving exactly 2 hours late, which is actually good going because they said there was a 2-hour delay plus the time to load. So we've already made up a little bit of time. But I'm on a ship. Actually, we're on a ship. The other option to cross the channel is the Channel Tunnel. But swap this for a train whizzing through a black tunnel? No, thank you. I'm going to be very quiet. I don't wake up anybody. It's 10 to 5. And in the light of the new day, the show looks enormous. I mean, we drove in yesterday. We got in 10 minutes to spare before they closed the doors. I don't know where we would have spent the night. But this show, this expo, it's enormous. I mean, we drove just through stands and stands and for half a mile to finally find our little spot in the sun. Weather is forecast to be brilliant for the whole weekend. This is very exciting. Can't resist having a little snoop. After a mad rush through France, a little bit of France, Belgium, a lot of Germany, and so arrived here just as it was getting dark, exhausted, collapsed into bed. Had no time at all to introduce ourselves to the people that are around us, with which we'll be spending the next 4 days. But I heard them this morning introducing themselves to each other. Turns out that they're all called Morgan, even the women. It's so nice to see other major manufacturers getting involved with overlanding. Generally speaking, Land Rover seems to be the last one left, so I thought, until I came here. Jeep is involved, and that means that they're thinking about overlanding, not just fancy, smart and shiny 4x4s. This is what I would call a Land Cruiser rich environment. In fact, so much so that I would say 50% of the light four-wheel drive vehicles are in fact Land Cruisers. And the other thing is that what is quite disappointing to me is that my own vehicle, which is considered spectacular anywhere else in the world, well, here it's regarded as a little bit ordinary. However, this is a Land Cruiser that is definitely not ordinary.
The big aluminium block is containing the battery pack for this electro engine that is mounted directly to the gearbox.
So can I climb underneath and see the motor?
Yes.
So this is not the motor?
No, that's not
the battery.
That's the battery pack. So with the battery pack mounted under the bonnet, we keep all the rest of the area of the vehicle free for whatever you want to use it, either for passengers or for luggage.
You do realize this is quite a ridiculous idea?
Of course it is. That's why we are doing it.
What's the concept?
The concept is that the basic idea is a student project to bring this vehicle to South Africa, to the tourist lodges, to have them run in those national parks without noise, without pollution, without burning petrol that has to be transported to the lodge first, and changing the lodge to a solar system, and then plug in this beautiful vehicle to have it reloaded and charged. To run the tourist tour is just a perfect idea.
How many kilometers range?
The way it is set up at the moment is for a range of 100 kilometers. And it is a smaller engine for Africa as it would be if we have it as a European version.
An electric engine off-road, how's that going to be?
The engine is connected to the gearbox. The gearbox is the same, so it's still the original Toyota gearbox. We have the same drive as we have it with a combustion engine. And given the fact that the electric engine has torque right away from the first moment you push the pedal. Can you imagine how it feels if you're in a tricky situation? You want to climb over some rocks, and you have to control the wheel to find the right way, and you don't have to hassle with an automatic gearbox or with a clutch or with anything. You just have your pedal, and the wheel does exactly what you want it to do. And we have not taken it off-road yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to that day.
So how do you change gear if there's no clutch?
You have to decide what gear to use first, and then engage the gear and use it for your drive. So if I go, let's say if I'm in Europe and I want to, I use it as a car for the forest, then I have to go there. Maybe it takes me 20 kilometers on a secondary road, so I'm using fourth or fifth gear. I have enough speed to travel to the forest. Once I have reached the forest, I will reduce it to second gear to be on a dirt road. And if I have to go between the trees to, I don't know, feed wildlife or whatever they want to do out there, you can still use reduction, and you can still use low gear, first gear, and you have a very controlled travel once the terrain is a little bit more rough.
Interestingly, these guys, Extreme, are the only ones that are using the pull-down bed, the ease of use of a pull-down bed. All the others are the bed has to be assembled, and you have to put away all your sleeping gear every time you move. I don't know why people and more people are not using this idea, but I like their approach very much. probably Europe's best-known Land Cruiser converters, is Tom's Fahrzeug technique of Germany. You know, looking at Tom's vehicles, they are very impressive. They're very expensive, but very impressive. The finish is wonderful, and what they've used for catches and locks and things like that, wonderful. But I really question the practicality. I mean, for example, this one is the closest to mine. You can't leave your bedding, sleeping bag, pillows on the bed, because the bed you actually have to disassemble the bed and reassemble it and go and find your sleeping bag, go and find your pillows and everything. You can't leave anything up there at all. So actually making a bed will probably take 3 or 4 minutes, whereas mine, making the bed takes, 2.5 seconds. You just pull the thing down and the bed's made. So practically speaking, I can see quite a few shortcomings with quite a few of these designs. Maybe it's just me being over practical, but that's what I'm seeing. This is the closest equivalent to my vehicle, 98,000 euros for a new one, left-hand drive. I've seen with a number of these designs, they have narrowed the opening. Now, one of the things that frustrates me a little bit about mine is that I can't open it enough. So when actually living outside the vehicle, you've got tables, you've got cookers and everything, ingress and access to the back of the vehicle is critical for practicality. These vehicles are designed to live inside them. They're not designed to live outside them and then inside them. Because I just see so many practical questions. Where am I going to put stuff? I've got cushions and everything. I don't have any access to any of my stuff in the back of the vehicle. To have access to anything that I've packed into this vehicle, anything, I've got to actually climb inside to get it. Nothing is accessible from the outside. So I see a lot of European influence in these designs. And I imagine in a place like Africa and Australia, they might not be particularly practical.
It's an all-weather vehicle. In the summer, you can sleep with the tent sides down. In the winter, you can pull the roof down and sleep in the bottom of the vehicle with a Webasto heater. It's for all weathers.
Okay. So that actually answers my question, because my vehicle that I designed and built is actually a Southern Hemisphere warm weather vehicle.
Absolutely.
And as
Yes.
nice as it is, I don't
Yes.
know if I would want to travel through Alaska or
No.
Arctic Circle, which this could do quite comfortably.
Yes, the cookers in a lot of these vehicles are flexible. You can put them out of the window on a table with a long gas line and cook outside.
Okay.
Or if it's cold, you can make a bowl of soup or a coffee inside when it's pouring with rain in the Northern Hemisphere.
Okay.
It's for dual use for worldwide travel.
This is a third company with yet another design idea, specialising in Land Cruiser campers. Company Desert Tech do specialise in 78 Land Cruisers, have declined to appear on YouTube, saying their order book is absolutely full and they rather market directly face to face, which I can understand. So I will just say what I think. The added roof height is obviously going to cost quite a bit in fuel consumption. There's no escaping that. The practicality of lifting up the roof and lowering it again on the split roof systems is so simple and so easy that I don't see, and all I see is a disadvantage with this system, and I don't see any advantages. I was going to ask them that very question. What is the advantage? I don't know what it is. It also appears that their vehicles, particularly the high-top vehicles, are designed for European conditions, difficult to get to anything in the back of the vehicle, a bit like others we've seen today. And the ones that are not chopped, in other words, just a simple 78, are actually a lot more practical than what I'm seeing from the lift. That's just my opinion. Okay, enough of Land Cruisers. Let's go and find something purely European. As much as I love G-Wagons, I'm afraid this one turns me stone cold. No. Now you're just being silly. I mean, this is not anything new, spectacular, unique, but it is quite rare. It's a Geländewagen 290 GD, which was the two that I owned were 290 GDs. But this is a long wheelbase version, and from what I can see, would be an amazing overland truck. And this little beauty is the G-Wagon's kid brother, the Starpuch Haflinger. This has to be the most spectacular event in all of 4x4 and overlanding. And I'm not talking about the expo. This is the parking lot. Every year, thousands of 4x4 and overland enthusiasts from all over the world gather here. They come to mingle, share ideas and their passion for 4x4s, and of course to show off their vehicles. The town council supplies ablutions and water, and it's free. And every 20 minutes, a free shuttle bus takes fans to and from the expo. This year, like last year, the parking lot is so full that the campers have spilt over into the school playing fields. This is true 4x4 folk community, like I've never seen it. We've been invited to supper with just one of these thousands of mad campers. Frederica and Robert, thank you so much for inviting us. So I haven't eaten in 7 days. Well, that's what it feels like, so I'm going to tuck in.
Good. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Enjoy your
Prost.
Prost.
Prost. Prost.
So, day 4, Sunday morning. This is a 4-day show. How many people have you had through your gates this weekend?
I think it's around 55, 58. So it's a new peak.
New peak,
Yes.
growth from
yes,
previous
it's
years.
yes. And now I think we have 95% quality dealers with the theme of overlanders. Not so much off-roading, of course off-roading. If you define off-road, off the road, 100%. If you say off-road is at least climbing, like the Van Skills Pass, yes, it's really off-road. So I think we have not more than 40%. But the mixture between overlanding, camping, outside living, it's I think this the main town, the capital of these crazy guys. And I love this.
In terms of a show to visit, it is, in terms of hardware, it is the most impressive I've ever been to, actually. Community is wonderful. I can't say the community is any different from what it is in the United States in the Overland Expo. Perhaps they're even stronger than it is here, but fantastic. And of course, being so Land Cruiser rich, it's absolutely wonderful. In their press releases for Abenteuer and Allrad, they say it is the biggest overland show in Europe. I actually think they're wrong. I actually think it is the biggest overland show in the world. Yes, there are other expos that do overland and 4x4 that are bigger, but none come close when it comes to just overland wheeled travel adventure. There's no show in the world that comes close to this.